So, how you been? You been good? You been healthy? You've been staying fit, keeping that productive, as Kendrick puts it, been putting your head down. How you been lately? We haven't been talking much. Why? I don't know. Some people forget to comment and engage with the videos. It's been a bit rough here on my end. I've been trying, build these connections with all these different types of people, and they just sit there like, oh, good video, and then they click onto the next one. It's like, it's crazy actually. Anywho, we're here for the review of Kanye's 808's and Heartbreak. I have quite the delicious notes here about many different of the sections. I'm quite happy with the sound and production. I'm actually quite happy with all the sections, in fact. So without further ado, I just say we hop right in. And FYI, I slightly changed around the format and the dynamic of these videos just to see how it goes, see how I feel, see how it works out. This is the new format. A therapeutic outlet to process intense personal grief, loneliness, and in his own words, singing his growth. Seeming to be about the death of his mother and the loss of his engagement to, and I've never read this name, Alexis Pfeiffer. I think it's Fife. Kanye seemed to believe traditional rapping seemed too limited for the kind of pain he was feeling, so he resulted to not only the creation of this album, but the general melodic, auto-tuned approach behind its sound and production, which is a great gateway to stark, electronic, melancholic atmosphere, heavily featuring the Roland TR-808 drum machine, heavily processed auto-tune, creating robotic and alien-like vocal textures, minimalist synth bass, eerie synths, and layered, often distorted sound effects. Now, even though I just read that off, right, what I like so much, okay, little win for us, is the fact that I actually had such a hand in using those words. Things like the robotic and alien-like vocal textures, me, just like this wording, I'm getting so much more used to, and more like capable of describing these sounds and the kinds of, descriptions they use and understanding what exactly they mean. I'm still trying to learn what sonic bed means, but makes me so happy. Then we have the sparse production, which focuses on the atmosphere and the echoes to create forms of space and void to better fit the themes of loneliness. And in terms of genre, we just have post-punk and 80s new wave. I think there is other terms for the kind of genre that this is part of or creates. I mean, you know what I mean, but like aesthetic and theme. Now, in terms of aesthetic, we have minimalism, icy, futuristic, electronic, sterile, raspy yet polished, spacious and atmospheric. Then with the theme and the album cover, all I could find was the deflated balloon on the album cover, which you should see right here, I believe, right? It's a deflated balloon heart, which apparently stands for the death of love and happiness. I did not know that. I won't even lie to you, I thought it wasn't a balloon. I thought it was something made out of a similar material. I think, and I have a little, okay, and just a little bit of like extra for this aesthetic and theme. Kanye seemed to have this thing with fashion. I mean, he still does, he always has. But in terms of this album specifically, the 808's epoch was marked by Kanye wearing tailored grey suits, deep v-neck sweaters, and large, dark-framed glasses, often pinned with a broken heart accessory. In terms of story, I think this is quite a flawed section, because most of the story is actually going to be covered in concept and intention. I could have just taken the script there and imported here with story. I said as if you can see the notes I have written down here, but I might actually have to terminate this section as a whole and just put just a little bit more time or just a few more details into concept and intention, because I find myself having to take sections from concept and intention and then fit it into story, because they're basically the same thing. But in terms of story, all I have is challenging masculinity with vulnerability, fame's isolation, and therapeutic artistic expression. There was lots of themes of therapy, self-therapy, therapeutic, throughout this album in terms of the descriptions and how people would, describe this album. And that's as much as I could find in terms of story, other than what I already said in concept and intention. Favorite songs, oh my soul. Okay, best section. This is probably my favorite other than sound and production. Number 3, we have See You in My Nightmares. The revival of confidence, feels like a breakaway from all the vulnerable Disney tracks we got ever since like After Heartless. Also, the like the emphases is if that's a word on the words and vocals, add like a layer of like braggy in your face sound that I just love so much. You'll tend to find that every time like there's a top 3 tracks, I'll continuously say like braggadocious, braggy, in your face. It's just something about like tracks that just speak so loud. It's like the concept of being unavoidable, you know? I just love it so much. At number 2, we have Streetlights, right? Mainly because of the beautiful vocal backdrop, I was going to say backdrops, but backgrounds, unless it means the same thing necessarily. Creating this atmosphere of comfort and soft, soothing vulnerability that I just find so enjoyable all the time. Coldest Winter was also like a close one for me to take second place. But even though Coldest Winter has a bit more of like an upbeat feel, I just feel like Streetlights just felt a bit more vulnerable, a bit more sweet, comforting, soothing, heartfelt. It feels like it has elements of tragedy that I just felt like I put it just a little bit above Coldest Winter. And number 1, I shouldn't even have to say. You know what it is. We know what it is. Say it. No, exactly. It's Heartless. Yeah. The incredible flow, right? Alone is enough. But I also have written here the hip hop yet not so hip hop type of track. How easy to digest yet heavy and meaningful lyricism it has. It's like just such a go-to track. Incredible production. It is just such a top tier song. Okay, such a good song. How it's aged publicly, we have, whilst originally being received as being overly sappy, I don't know why anyone would describe it as sappy, and over-reliant on autotune. That does make a bit more sense. The opinions have shifted, recognizing its trend-setting influence that birthed the modern emo rap sound. Obviously, aging to be considered a masterpiece, as it always is. Sound-defining and even culture-shifting, and ahead of its time. Now, commercially, it went triple platinum, and for those who don't know what platinum is, it's when a track or an album sells over 1 million units. 1 million. And for perspective, what a unit is, specifically an album unit, nowadays combines the physical album sales, the digital downloads, and the equivalent in streams. In proportion of streams, 1.5 streams, 1,500, equals 1 unit, which is pretty insane to think about. But also at the time, physical sales would be like, I think counts as merch and discs or LPs, if I'm not mistaken. And Heartless alone becoming a septuple platinum record. You know how insane that is? Debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, 450,000 units sold in its first week of release, and had a 29-week run on the UK album charts. I'm not Englishing very well, but that is also just generally this, just that. Well done, man, well done. And I think the most important part is how it aged personally for me. Well, gradually as I listen and study this album, the aesthetic, the pioneering influence, the geniusness behind the most subtle elements, I genuinely can't help but love the absolute heck out of this album. It's like easily become like one of my most favorite albums ever listened to, which isn't, I was going to say which isn't saying too much, but I've listened to such good projects, as you'll see by the catalog on this channel. But this has just been such a good experience. I really didn't expect this. Like seeing the album cover, I was like, I thought the cover was so cool. I did expect something high, but in this way, I did not expect it to be this, what it is, which has been described through all these sections. But it's just become so easily one of my favorites and has been so enjoyable. And now for the most awaited section, probably my overall score. Dreams to Fruition, give this Kanye 808's and Heartbreak album experience a 9 out of 10. The reason it's a 9 and not like a full 10 is because the only weak point of this entire album, I feel like, is the last track, which being Pinocchio's Story. I can appreciate the unique angle took with the live performance rather than a pre-recorded audio based. What is it called now? Okay, I'm not too entirely sure what it is called exactly, but I kind of liked the approach for going for something like that as the last finishing track. the fact that it's extra lengthy, the fact that it has so much concept, but I just think the general quality of the live performance recording was so poor, it was actually hard to enjoy. Had it been a bit better, maybe I would have given this a 10 out of 10. Very high chance I would have given this a 10 out of 10. But I mean, even the track like Robocop, I don't even like that much. I forgot to say that in my favorite tracks. I like to, obviously add tracks I don't like. Robocop, like, I didn't like, but I do like, but I don't. But I can at least appreciate what it did for the album as a story, as a narrative. So I still put it pretty high up. But yeah, no, this track was just a little bit too weak on my part. But a 9 out of 10 is a 9 out of 10, bro. Like, let's not be sappy about it. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this review. It was very bullet pointy, lots of reading, kind of quick paced, a little bit of a different format. Let me know how I did. If there's any notes you want to do, any things you want to share about anything I didn't cover. Y'all want to talk about how much you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did enjoy this. Whatever it is you want to let me know, let me know. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta get to work. So I'll see you guys in the next one. It's been your boy DTF. Adios.